over a year now. It's been the pound for pound world champion. Well, it's only the Motion Boom, innit? And what happens? You give the Motion Boom some steroids. You get the Motion Boom Plus. I know you've all been really excited, personally. I've been pretty excited about what to expect. And you know what? It's finally here. The Motion Boom Plus, the Motion Boom.
That's amazing.
And do you know what? They do look remarkably similar, don't they? It is the same design, but with slight changes. I think all of you who send an ugly handle, I don't like that. It's a bit sleeker. It's a bit more subtle. It doesn't, in terms of percentage of the actual speaker, it takes up less area. So it's less dominant, but it's there. And do you know what? We even get a strap. I know a lot of you were waiting for a JBL-like strap, and now you've got it. The only thing you're probably not going to like is, well, even if you want the strap, you're going to have to use the handle, even if you wanted to saw it off, because it's required to clip your strap onto. It's a lot bigger. It's got a plus in the name. We're expecting a lot. What's the actual differences? In terms of price, well, it's early days, and we know you get loads of deals with Soundcore. They always, you know, on Amazon, there's always these vouchers you can get ridiculous amounts of. Just tell us the price, a bit like buying a car. You know, you never pay retail, do you? Just tell us the actual price. We wouldn't have to haggle, and everyone would be happy. But as things stand, about 90 quid, about the same in dollars for the Motion Boom. But you do get deals. You can get 20, 25 quid off of that easily if you look out for it. At the moment, advertising about £190, about $180. But it looks like it's probably going to be around twice the price of that, about 150 quid. So you're thinking, if that's already pound for pound champion, and that's twice the price, and is actually twice as good, it's going to be even more exciting in terms of value.
Nice.
What are the other headlines? Well, we know that's... I'm getting to the point with these specs where some things you just got to ignore. We've been ignoring milliamp hour capacities for batteries for a while now. We just go for watt hours. And I'm on the verge of doing the same with watts. It's completely meaningless, especially now JBL, also Harman Kardon, are doing ridiculous tricks to simply double what the rating would be. Even if we knew what they were rating, sometimes they say RMS. They normally say nothing. Now, in terms of Soundcore, they're saying 80 watts for the Plus, 30 watts for the Boom. But we don't know how they're measuring it. We don't even know if they're rating the amp or the actual drivers themselves. And it's always suspicious to me. Well, it has become suspicious now after seeing what JBL are doing when they quote woofers plus tweeters. They're doing that with the Motion Boom Plus. They're saying 30 watt per woofer, 10 watt per tweeter. But it, you know, it doesn't normally work like that. It's normally you're getting the one feed and the crossover, just sending the frequencies, and then depending on what the track you're playing, you get a different amount of power. So that's already suspicious to me. It doesn't matter. I could have simply said, I'll tell you what they say. Let's just forget it. We'll test loudness at the end. The other big thing is 2.4 kilos, 1.5 kilos. Not quite twice the weight, and actually surprisingly light for a speaker that size and a so-called potential boombox. Some of the other headlines you may want to know. It's party cast too, so you can hook up to different types of speakers if they are party cast, I believe, or maybe it has to be party cast 2. To be honest, I'm not absolutely sure if it's backwards compatible. I'd have to go and try it, but you've been screaming at me to get this video out, so I've kind of rushed it. But it does do both party mode 100 plus speakers or stereo pairing. So it's got TWS, whereas TWS only with the same model speaker on the Motion Boom. So you're going to keep asking, but no, as far as I know, and as far as I've tested, cannot connect these two speakers together. It was always about, well, can I connect that to the Motion Plus? No, is the answer. I tell you, it's got power IQ, but if you actually look in the specs, we're talking 5 volts, 3 amps, maximum input. So maximum 15 watts. Not quite. So that's better than the normal 5 volts, 2 amps, which would be 10 watts. But potentially, at best, when you're charging this, which is via USB-C cable, you'll get 15 watts charging power in, even if you are on a power IQ capable charger, so it knows what the speaker can take. You can use it as a power bank. You can use the auxiliary input. But we'll get to the specs at the end, along with the conclusion, because I know you're in a hurry to know, how does it sound? The only other thing I will mention is, the exciting thing about Soundcore is what? It got EQ, I've got wonderful EQ, millions of sliders, and you can actually change things in a meaningful way. It's not like JBL. But do you know what? At the point I'm doing this video, no app support. You can't even get hold of it in the app to do anything. It comes out on the 30th, apparently. Hopefully after then, we can start messing with the EQ. Just to let you know then, therefore, this comparison, this video, is about default versus default. Is it not really going to, because I think that's more relevant as we're only on default there rather than, of course you can, it's got a bass up button. Yeah, well, let's get that out of the way. Oh wow, it's got bass up technology. What is bass up technology? That's the bass. If you turn the bass up off, get a massive cut in the bass. It's not doing anything major. We see this also X bass, bass up, it's bass. And so it's default versus default. Let's get straight in. About 50% on the Motion Boom Plus. It's about 65% on the Motion Boom.
You and me, baby, ain't nothing but mammals, so let's do it like they do on the Discovery Channel. You and me, baby, ain't nothing but mammals, so let's do it like they do on the Discovery Channel. That's right. I'll be the predator, I'll hunt the prey, then we can make love every night, every day. It's a jungle out there and life still ain't easy, but we can make like the animals on TV. Cause you and me, baby, ain't nothing but mammals, so let's do it like they do on the Discovery Channel. You and me, baby, ain't nothing but mammals, so let's do it like they do on the Discovery Channel. You and me, baby, ain't nothing but mammals, so let's do it like they do on the Discovery Channel. Nothing but mammals, so let's do it like they do on the Discovery Channel. You and me, baby, ain't nothing but mammals, so let's do it like they do on the Discovery Channel. That's right. I'll be the predator, I'll hunt the prey, then we can make love every night, every day. It's a jungle out there and life still ain't easy, but we can make like the animals on TV. Cause you and me, baby, ain't nothing but mammals, so let's do it like they do on the Discovery Channel. You and me, baby, ain't nothing but mammals, so let's do it like they do on the Discovery Channel. You and me, baby, ain't nothing but mammals, so let's do it like they do on the Discovery Channel. You and me, baby, ain't nothing but mammals, so let's do it like they do on the Discovery Channel. You and me, baby, ain't nothing but mammals, so let's do it like they do on the Discovery Channel.
The Motion Boom Plus smashes the Motion Boom out of the park in terms of the bass. Nearly 4 decibels up in terms of total bass, 2.5 decibels up in terms of upper bass, 4 decibels up in terms of the mid bass, and over 3 decibels up in the deepest bass. The flip side is it's a bit weak between 200 Hz and 2 kHz. This covers the mids and the lower mids. This will make the Motion Boom sound a little bit clearer, but also maybe a little bit more honky. And there's also a little bit more at the high end on the Motion Boom.
That's what you wanted to know. Is it even more bass heavy? Is it more bass heavy? I think you know the answer now. The answer is yes. Yes! It's simply way bigger in the bass. Right the way down. So it's upper bass, mid bass, all the bass. It's just a bigger bass. When you match them in terms of loudness, it's all going to depend on where your ears are tuned. Obviously, I've said it before, most of us kind of normalize in the real world in terms of those vocals. You they do these tricks to make people play their music louder by deliberately reducing the volume, adjust the vocals, so everything else relative is loud, and they know you'll just turn it up because you'll go to the vocal. So that's what I tried to do. However, I also match them in LUFS. I try to get it as accurate as possible. But I'm saying that particularly because there is, on my version of the Motion Boom Plus, there's a definite dip there, 200 hertz to 2 kilohertz, which is affecting the sound. So it's making it a little bit more recessed than it would be if it's a bit more balanced. It may well be deliberate tuning like that, just to give more emphasis to a bit more in the terms of the deeper bass by losing out on the lower mids and the mids. But there's no doubt, it sounds bigger. Do you know why? It's a bigger speaker, yes. And if I hadn't mentioned that, I don't think I did mention. The massive thing about the speaker, of course, is it's got tweeters. So, I did mention it because I talked about, they say 10 watts for tweeters, as though it's getting a separate power supply. But, yeah, do they make a difference? They do, because A, it's going to help the dispersion a little bit, especially, because they're at the ends. It's going to make it sound a bit wider. But the main thing is, it's just way more bass heavy, and it's maybe for some a bit over. It's not natural bass. That's a bass boost. That may be a little too much for some people. Let's take it up real world volumes. Let's go to 66 or 65% on the Motion Boom Plus. For me, is around 80% on the Motion Boom. So when you're really pushing this the Motion Boom itself, where are we with the Motion Boom Plus?
Tell all your friends that I'm crazy and drive you mad, that I'm such a stalker, a watcher, a psychopath. They tell them you hate me and dated me just for laughs. So why do you call me and tell me you want me back? You maniac. You maniac. You maniac. You maniac. You just went too far, wrecked your car, called me crying in the dark. Now you're breaking my heart, so I show up at your place right away, wipe the tears off of your face, while you beg me to stay. Well, people like you always want back what they can't have, but I'm past that and you know that, so you should turn back to your rap pack, tell them I'm trash. Tell all of your friends that I'm crazy and drive you mad, that I'm such a stalker, a watcher, a psychopath. Then tell them you hate me and dated me just for laughs. So why do you call me and tell me you want me back? You maniac. You maniac. You maniac. You maniac. Psychopathic, don't be so dramatic. We had magic, but you made it tragic. Now you're manic, honestly I've had it. Listen to yourself, think you need to get some help. Tell all of your friends that I'm crazy and drive you mad, that I'm such a stalker, a watcher, a psychopath. Then tell them you hate me and dated me just for laughs. So why do you call me and tell me you want me back? You maniac. You maniac. You maniac. You maniac.
And it's the same story. The Motion Boom Plus simply annihilates the Motion Boom for bass. It's simply no contest. But again, lack of lower mids and mids is a slight issue on the Boom Plus, but it is going to help to even more emphasize the deeper bass.
That lack of mids on my Motion Boom Plus is real. It's still there. Now that we're pushing, we're certainly pushing the Motion Boom, at 80% is the point where it starts limiting the bass. This is where the real differences show. For me, it may be a little too bass heavy at those lower volumes, especially because there's plenty of detail and there's plenty of sparkle, but I do hear those recessed mids, making it sound overall, for me, a little darker, a little bit more recessed. But that's because I'm listening for it and I know it's there. When you just have them side by side, A, B, this just comes over as massively more powerful and bigger and more sparkly at these higher volumes. But it is very punchy, I have to say. It's very punchy, what I would call a very kind of aggressive tuning. And I'm saying that because it's not all win-win. Is it? Does it? I know for most of you, you're going to say that's so much better. It sounds way better because you're just looking for that party tuning and that party bass. For me, at low volumes, it's a little bit too bass heavy, and at these higher volumes, there's a lot of taste. It's quite punchy, and it's what I would call a little bit tiring. Does it sound more open? Does it sound, how do you define better? I would say for most people, they're going to say it sounds better. But I have to say there are other differences to take into account. And to me, this is more of the upgrade to the Mifa Wild Box, because it's that even Tribbit, the lean, thinner kind of tuning, whereas this is a warmer, thicker sound. And that's what I personally like. And that's why I'm saying it's no good me just saying this is a better speaker and you think, right, well, I'll put that down. I'll sell it before I even get my Motion Boom Plus. But it comes down to it's a bundle of fun. I don't think it's a game changer. It's like if the price is what they're saying, $180 and 190 quid. That's still this, I know the A1, the Bayo sound, you get little speakers for 200 quid. It's definitely great value, don't get me wrong. We're still talking, yes, in the same way as the Motion Boom is great value, the Motion Boom Plus is great value, but it has its own signature sound, which I know a lot of you are just going to say, well, that's simply better, but there's also going to be another bunch of people, maybe the self-proclaimed audiophiles will say, oh, that just sounds off. I have to say, for me, it's a little bit too punchy. I would have liked a little less punch, a little bit more in the deep bass. But is it massively fun? Yes. Is it on another planet in terms of bass compared to the Motion Boom? Absolutely. Is there anything else that's going to that even going to compare? Under £200? I can't think off the top of my head. You're telling me about the Tribbit Stormbox Blast? Maybe that will. I don't know. But of the ones I've actually heard, but not in a hi-fi sense. I know some of you are saying, and I've read your comments, it's hi-fi. To me, it's not hi-fi. It's more party than hi-fi. But I understand why you're saying that, because it's lean and tight. And a lot of you just think, well, that's hi-fi. What do we mean by hi-fi? I'm going on and on, but the point here is, at these louder volumes, these party volumes, I'd have to put that one aside. I can't push the 66% anymore in a comparison. It's pointless. Because it's already, out of its league to a certain extent, certainly in terms of volume. So we're going to have to, what can we compare? What did you say? Oh, the Boombox 2. All right then. This is going to be a great comparison in terms of deep bass. We're saying it's got great bass. We already said the Motion Boom had great bass. This has got even bigger bass. Does that now mean it's a Boombox? Which would be great, because the Boombox 2, which I have on the table here, retail $499. I personally paid less than that. You're telling me you can get some great deals out there. If you get a deal, then it's decent value. But at retail, like 190 versus $500, pounds, whatever it is, less than half the price. Is it a match for the Boombox 2? And that's the point. Is it a replacement for the Boombox 2? Let's have a listen. Obviously, I said I couldn't go any louder because that's simply no match now. So I'm doing this at 75%. No, don't get too excited. 75% on the Motion Boom Plus it's 80%. Oh, it's playing a bit louder. Oh, I know you're getting really excited. I'm quite excited to see you excited. 80% versus 75%, which is equal to in terms of loudness.
Everybody's payroll. It's no rapping if it ain't a cash flow. I'm the glow, they don't wanna do more. I'm on everybody's payroll, payroll, pay. I'm on everybody's payroll. It's no rapping if it ain't a cash flow. I'm the glow, they don't wanna do more. I'm on everybody's payroll, payroll.
To the benzo, business from the bando, 100 enemies with a full clip, got 100 bullets finna let go. LJ boy been on, Wifey cave, I'm a president, I'm a militant, and my jeans strong. Got my paper proper, boy, the green long. She wanna ride in the foreign. She said Americans born. I'm a baller like I'm Jordan. All of my diamonds, they pouring, yeah. And I be off of my payroll. My nigga, I need the pesos. My mama told me in Crayon. Your nigga go stack up your money, yeah.
I'm on everybody's payroll. It's no rapping if it ain't a cash flow. I'm the glow, they wanna do more. I'm on everybody's payroll, payroll, pay. I'm on everybody's payroll. It's no rapping if it ain't a cash flow. I'm the glow, they wanna do more. I'm on everybody's payroll, payroll.
One thing the Motion Boom Plus cannot match is the deep bass of the Boombox 2. 80 Hz and down, it's the Boombox 2 that dominates to the point where that deep bass is giving you that rumble that's going to be missing on the Motion Boom Plus. It's 8 decibels down at that 40 Hz mark. The difference in the mids is less than the difference between the Boom and the Boom Plus in terms of the mids. We know the Boom Plus lacks mids 200 Hz to kilohertz, but now it dominates in terms of the high end. Over the Boombox 2, it sort of cancels each other out. So the Boombox 2 has a deeper bass, but the Motion Boom Plus has a bit more clarity.
So I said it's not a game changer, but it is fantastic value. And I think you see what I'm saying. Now, we've given it the real test against the Boombox 2. It can't do the deep bass. Well, we don't know what it's going to do with EQ, but I doubt even with EQ, it's going to be able to match the deep bass of the Boombox 2, which is what you're paying for. In the real world, that means you will get a movie-type rumble, a lovely, deep, rumbly bass on the Boombox 2 that will be missing. It ain't there. There is nice bass. You can feel it. It's decent bass. It kind of feels deep to you. But when you hear something truly deep, you can hear that it's missing on the Boombox. The Motion Boom Plus. How much is it missing? Well, at 40 Hertz, we're about as much as they can play down to in terms of deep bass without being massively rolled off. It is rolled off, but it's not massively so. It's 8 decibels up on the Boombox 2, and that's massive. Double the power, 3 decibels. Twice the loudness is 10 decibels. So 8 decibels in terms of that deep bass is huge. It's found its match. You can see where it sits in the market. At the moment, it looks like it's priced between the Motion Boom and the Boombox 2, and it sounds like something between the two. The mids is closer. We already talked about the wavy mids and highs on the Boombox 2. So in terms of the mids, I said it was lacking in terms of lower mids and mids. It's closer between these two than it was against the Motion Boom. So that, along with the fact that that is a bit rolled off in the high end, this comes over as more sparkly and clearer. So sparkly, clearer, with decent bass, but that is all about the deep bass. So it depends what you value between all those specs. And you're probably asking, shut up, Al, we've had enough. Al, how does it go?
I wanna know where you're staying at. Wanna know where you've been laying at. I wanna know, I wanna know. I'm going through all the old Kodak. Wanna know why you hit me back. I wanna know, I wanna know. I've been holding something back that maybe you should know. I just want to give you this thing. Can you take it home? 'Cause we ain't seen what this could be. Quit playing games with Chloe. this could be. Quit playing games, just come
Who goes the loudest? It is the Motion Boom Plus. It's doing that because the JBL Boombox is still pushing its deep bass. The Boom and the Boom Plus cannot match the deep rumbly bass of the JBL Boombox 2. However, the Boombox 2 matches that big bass with a roll-off in the highs. The biggest bass, but the least in the highs. The Boom Plus now at maximum volume. The difference in the mids is disappearing. So in terms of the Boom against the Boom Plus, totally the Boom Plus now, even in terms of the clarity. And the Boom Plus in terms of upper bass, it does beat out the Boombox 2. So the sound signatures between the Boombox 2 and the Motion Boom Plus are going to be very different. It's an upper bass, more hard-edged, but clearer and louder signature sound on the Boom Plus compared to the dark, rolled off, but very boomy, very deep bass on the Boombox 2.
I put out a missing persons report on the Motion Boom. Maximum volume. It's gone. It's lost. It's, you know, it's the wrong comparison. The Motion Boom, we know its limits now. And in terms, if you just want something that's really going to go really, really loud, it ain't the Motion Boom. It's going to be either the Motion Boom Plus or it's going to be the JBL Boombox 2. It still dominates in terms of deep bass, but hey ho, the loudest one on the table is indeed the Motion Boom Plus. I have to point out, it goes about a decibel louder if you plug the mains lead in. I'm just doing these tests on battery because that's a fair test. That doesn't go louder on if you have the power lead in. I'm all about portable Bluetooth speakers. Indeed. The tuning on this, I think, suits both indoor and outdoor. There is big bass, but it's tight and it's punchy. That's going to transfer outdoors. Whereas that's only deep bass, and outdoors that gets a bit lost. You could say the same about the Motion Boom, but of course the Motion Boom itself doesn't go that loud. The tuning on the Motion Boom Plus does work indoor and outdoor. Remember, indoors you get anything up to about a 6 decibel gain depending on your room. But in room you'll get bass gain that you lose when you go outdoors, but you'll still get that punchy sound. That's why it's really different, you know, the tuning between the speaker when you listen to a speaker indoors and outdoors. And outdoors, it tends to be not about does it still sound hi-fi and balanced. It tends to be does the volume travel, does the bass travel, and different parts of that frequency response will travel. Some of the issues I've mentioned with the Boombox Plus will hopefully be an easy fix for my ears. You may love it and not want to change it at all. It does work out the box. But certainly in terms of those mids and maybe reducing the punch a little bit, getting a bit more deep bass, that will come down to EQ. The app doesn't support it at the moment. Obviously, I would hope that's going to come very shortly because Soundcore are all about EQing their speakers. And let's go over all the specs. They are, of course, all made in Switzerland. No, they're not. They're made in China. We talked about prices. Batteries. We do watt hours on this channel. Soundcore Motion Boom is 37 watt hours. The JBL Boombox has a big old battery, 72.6 watt hours. And in between the two, of course, 46.1 watt hours for the Soundcore Motion Boom Plus. They are all SPC codecs. I'm afraid, yes, SPC still on the Motion Boom Plus. But it's got Bluetooth 5.3. We've got Bluetooth 5.1 on the Boombox 2. And we've got Bluetooth 5 on the Motion Boom. They all do stereo pairing. And the Boombox and the Boom Plus will do party mode as well. All got USB-C connections except for the barrel charger on the Boombox 2, but that does mean it will charge at, it'll give you 100 watts charging power versus 10 watts and 15 watts. Only the Soundcore Motion Boom lacks an auxiliary. I know you're really excited that we've got an auxiliary input on the Motion Boom Plus, and we'll get to latency about that in a minute. Can all be used as a power bank. You can use them all as a phone speaker, except for the JBL Boombox 2. Let's stop getting wrapped up in what they rate as power because it's a little bit meaningless. We know how loud they go. We talked about 1.5 kilos, 2.4 kilos, just under 6 kilos. Huge difference. I mean, that's more than twice the weight. So we talk about that being great value and in between the other two. And you can see already, but that means 2.5, even 2 Motion Boom Pluses weigh less than a single Motion Boom. They all float and they are all IPX7 rated, but the Motion Boom Plus is IP67, which means not only 1 meter of water for 30 minutes, it's also dust proof. Well, let's talk about those actual drivers, which we've not really talked about in detail. On the Motion Boom Plus, we have 2 90mm woofers, 2 25mm tweeters, and 2 passive radiators. Soundcore Motion Boom has 2 65mm drivers, so quite a lot smaller. No tweeters, 2 passive radiators. And the JBL Boombox has 2 106mm woofers, 2 20mm tweeters, slightly smaller tweeters, 2 passive radiators. But the interesting thing for me is how they break down in terms of surface area. Surface area matters in terms of the sound and the volume for the same watts and the same efficiency, of course. And it is more than twice the surface area. 13,702 millimeters squared is basically twice the surface area that you'll get on the Motion Boom, but still way more surface area, 18,276 millimeters squared for the Boombox 2. Soundcore have given us titanium drivers. We love titanium drivers, and we've got them both in terms of the woofers on the Motion Boom Plus and indeed the Motion Boom. I've measured the latency. Remember, latency is going to completely be different on your setup, your scenario, your devices. I can only tell you, for me, in terms of the auxiliary, because there's no auxiliary on the Motion Boom. The auxiliary has 33 milliseconds of lag on the Boombox 2, which is decent, but of course you really want 0 latency, and I got 17 milliseconds of latency, which is great on the Motion Boom Plus, but it's not 0. I have to point that out. Not in my personal testing, but when it came to streaming YouTube latency, fantastic on the Motion Boom for me. The best I've tested so far. I had to recheck it. 33 milliseconds is absolutely brilliant compared to 140 milliseconds, which is awful, and 170 milliseconds, which is awful. They all have an app. They all have, well, JBL have rolled out EQ to some of their speakers, but it ain't on the Boombox 2. Maybe it's on the Boombox 3, which is about to come out. I don't know. We will be getting EQ as far as I know, but this speaker does not show up in the app at the moment. How did that happen? That was a shocker for me from Soundcore. They missed the boat. I don't know, maybe they'll have it on the 30th. But at the moment, they've sent all these speakers out to a million different reviewers. You can't EQ it, and that's the whole point of our Soundcore speakers, isn't it? You've got this fantastic EQ, because we do have the EQ in the Motion Boom. It does make a big difference, but just remember, I've done default mode versus default mode. That's my wrap. So here we are for everyone who comes to the end of the video. What's the conclusion? The conclusion is another great value speaker. A speaker I know loads and loads and loads of you, and the majority of you are going to love and say, well, it's way better than the Motion Boom. Job done. Game over. For me, it's a little bit different. I have found this a little bit tiring to listen to because it's so punchy. If you want a party speaker, that's party tuning for me, that amount of punch. I hope I can reduce that a little bit in EQ. A lot of you will just say, well, that's what I want, especially if you want to go outdoors. To me, it's a bit like the Augment versus the JBL Extreme 3, which I personally like, versus all of you who still say it was miles better on the Extreme 1 and Extreme 2, because the bass is different. Each Extreme on has gone for a bit more deep bass over a bit more of the upper bass, and that's not for everyone, especially when you go outdoors and that upper bass travels. But for me, I wouldn't describe this as hi-fi, but it's great fun, it's open, it's a big sparkly sound, and if you just listen to the Motion Boom, you probably are thinking that's hi-fi, but it's, for me, that's a long way from being an immersive. Hi-fi to me is something that's immersive, analytical, something I can really pick out nuances in. Because those certainly, on my version, the mids are a little bit lacking. I wouldn't be able to say that, but I think it's fantastic value. It's not a boombox killer. It's not doing that amount of deep bass, but it's for everybody who's only listened to the Motion Boom, or indeed W King. It's almost like I would say it's a hi-fi version of W King speakers. It's sort of, for me, that punchy upper bass tuning. It does do deep bass, but not to the extent the Boombox 2 does, and that's why I'm saying it's still more on the fun side of tuning than the hi-fi side of tuning. But of course, it's all a matter of opinion and how you even define that. This has been the first video. Of course, there'll be loads of videos down the years for the Motion Boom Plus. I wanted to get this one out of the way. I may be slow at getting the others out because it does take a little while to put these videos together, and there's loads of speakers I know you want to ask here comparison. And is there any point in doing it before we get the EQ, because it's going to completely change everything anyway? Although the one thing that is obvious is twice the price of Motion Boom. Should you and a lot of you have already asked, you've got 2 Motion Booms, should you get that? Yes, well, it's completely different. It's a different, I'm not going to say completely different, it's a different tuning, and it's one speaker to go. It's great value. If you've got 2 Motion Booms, I don't think it's going to replace the Motion Booms, but let's have a listen when we actually do that comparison. But it's certainly something you may want alongside 2 Motion Booms. I've got 2 Motion Booms. You don't always want to set them up separated. Depends on your scenario. I'm sure this is always massively, massively long. I'm going to have to cut it all down in the edit, get rid of some of the rants. But I thank you for watching this particular one. Whether we agree or disagree, I just got to point out, this is my opinion of these speakers. I'm not somebody who says, well, that's good and that's bad, and that's how it should be. In my opinion, we've all got different tastes. We've got different rooms for a start and different usage scenarios. Definitely good value. It's not one of those speakers that I'm saying is awful and don't buy. It's definitely a thumbs up. I know it's great fun to listen to, but for me, a bit too punchy, a bit lean, but great. But I can listen to it. I just found it a little bit over punchy and a little bit tiring on a long listen. My opinions often change, not only as we break in the speakers, but as your ears adjust to a new speaker. But I'm not saying it's a pound for pound champion. I'm still sticking with that. Look, for an intimate listen, it's still the Motion Boom. They're just very different. I'm rambling on because I'm basically saying the same thing over and over again. But I think it's important that you don't get one soundbite and take it away. Well, it's now the best speaker on the market. It's not, but it's one of the best value speakers I've heard. Absolutely. And at its price level, it's probably, well, in terms of, without going down that analytical route, it's probably, as fun as you're going to get. I don't know. I'll have to wait and listen to it against some of those Harman Kardon speakers that I've got, because they're, again, for me, they are more hi-fi, but that's my opinion. Hope to see you in some of those videos, and I hope I haven't frightened you off. I thank you for watching.
I ain't about that life. I ain't about that life. Ain't no project wife, got my logic right, cause I'm not your type. I ain't about that life. I ain't about that life. Sorry, ma, I ain't get it right. I'ma just live my life. I ain't about that. I ain't about that life.